There is a scene in Indiana Jones and the something or other, one of the ones from the 80s or whenever the fuck it is that they came out. I don't remember. Not relevant. Point is, there is a scene when he, Indiana, Mr. Jones, whatever the fuck you call him, is walking through the desert and he comes to this little spot and a bunch of people like clear out the way and this dude with his face all wrapped up and his head wrapped up with, I remember if he had one sword or two swords, but I'm going to say two swords. And he starts twirling them around all crazy and shit, doing all kinds of swordsmanly tricks, whatever the fuck. And Indiana Jones watches him for a few seconds and then shoots him and walks the fuck off like nothing happened. All of that pageantry and showmanship that the other guy did, and all it got him was shot in the fucking stomach and dead because he didn't effectively do anything. Now, most people approach the things that they want to do like this swordsman guy. They try and overcomplicate everything and focus on everything but what it is that needs to be done. People want to go and start a clothing company and they want to figure out how to start a LLC and come up with all of these perfect logos and designs and the perfect brand name and mission statement and all kinds of stuff. And they do every single thing except selling the t-shirt or the pants or whatever the fuck it is that they want to sell. I've talked on here before about how I had a friend who wanted to be a photographer slash videographer, and he went out and bought all of the camera equipment necessary to make that happen and learn how to take great shots and edit. And he had all kinds of fucking screens and lighting and all kinds of fancy fucking photographer, videographer shit. I don't know what any of that shit's called. But anyway, the point is he spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on this shit and also spent money to shoot with a bunch of random models, but then never did anything with the stuff that the content that he shot and or the videos that he recorded, and never tried to sell anyone on his services, then came to the conclusion that he failed. He focused on everything but what it was that needed to be done. He overcomplicated the fuck out of it, just like most people do. People want to go to the gym and they want to figure out the perfect program and exactly how it is that they need to eat and figure out the perfect gym to go to and get all of these clothes, and they do everything except going to the fucking gym. They do everything around starting a business except starting the actual business. And at the end of the day, none of that shit matters. People overcomplicate shit into the point that it is basically inactionable for a variety of reasons. First and foremost, it feels like you're actually doing something. If you want to start a business and you sit down and you watch a bunch of Alex Hormozy videos on YouTube, that feels really good. And it feels like you're learning a bunch of stuff, and it feels like you're doing something, and it feels like you're making progress towards your goals. If you want to start your own YouTube channel, Instagram, whatever the fucking case may be, it feels good to go and gather up all of the necessary information to do so. I had somebody ask me the other day about whether or not they should just start filming content on their phone or buy a camera and wait for that to come in and all of that shit. And all of the extra steps that you add in simply prolong what it is that you are actually looking to do. And that's what people want to do. All of that shit is just a way to procrastinate. So you overcomplicate things so that you can procrastinate, so that you never actually have to get started doing what it is that you say that you want to do. Because if you never get started, then shit can never actually go wrong and you never run the risk of failing. And most people are absolutely terrified to fucking fail, which ironically is what makes them failures to begin with. Because the only true way to fail is to never start doing something in the first place, and or quit when things get hard. But that is, as a whole, a separate point. The point is, when you overcomplicate shit, all you're doing is procrastinating. If you want to make content, all you need is some sort of recording device. And what do you know? If you are able to consume content, assuming you're not doing it on your laptop, matter of fact, even if you are doing it on your laptop, because most laptops have a fucking webcam, so you can record shit off of there. But you watch this shit on your phone, and guess what your phone has? A fucking camera. You can record it on there. If you want to start a business, all you need to do is figure out what you want your business to be and solicit your services to people. Anything else that you do in between is simply prolonging you getting started. It is just another form of procrastination, albeit it's a fancier form of procrastination, and one that is better than sitting around doing absolutely nothing, but not too much, because at the end of the day, if you never start, then you might as well never have done any of that other shit to begin with. And again, this is why people like to overcomplicate shit, because it is feel-good procrastination. It's procrastination that feels like it's moving towards a goal. And Another reason, excuse me, fucking up my words. Anyway, another reason that people like to overcomplicate shit is because if something is very complicated and it doesn't work out, then you have the excuse of saying, well, it was too much, or it was too hard, or it was too difficult. And that feels much better than saying, I just didn't feel like doing the shit to begin with, or I just didn't have what it takes. I wasn't willing to work hard enough. I wasn't committed enough. I was a quitter, whatever the fucking case may be. All of those things feel better than acknowledging the fact that you failed because you're a fucking failure. And I know that sounds harsh, but if you're failing, that's the case. You're failing because you are a failure and a quitter. But excuse me, at the end of the day, very few things are actually that complicated. They are very, very simple. Now, simple does not mean easy. Yes, some shit is relatively hard depending on how it is that you define hard, but it is not complicated. It is simple. But people make shit seem complicated and seem difficult so they cannot do it. And the more complicated that you make it, the more daunting it also seems to you as well. So while it might be making you feel better about the fact that you haven't gotten it done yet, or gotten around to it, it's also making you just want to procrastinate it more, because you're making a very simple thing into this big giant mountain, this big giant hill to climb, when in reality all you have to do is step over some shit that's just slightly there. But you made it seem bigger because of how it is that you were viewing it, because of how it is that you painted it. But again, all things very simple, very straightforward. You would like to start a clothing brand, then figure out how to get some fucking clothes and sell them to people. If you want to start making content, start recording yourself and start fucking posting it. If you want to, that's how I started doing shit. I just sat down and recorded shit and put it on fucking Instagram. And all of these things you don't need to be an expert at to begin with. You will get better as you go on, but you're never going to get better if you don't practice, and you're never going to be able to practice unless you actually start doing the shit. You're never going to start doing the shit until you stop overcomplicating shit and making things difficult. And people especially do this when it comes to living their life, when it comes to bettering themselves on a personal, individual character level. They overcomplicate the shit out of it and they make it seem like this big, terrible, evil, daunting task. When in reality, you don't have to, you're looking at shit stupidly, and you were looking at shit wrong, and you were looking at shit in a way that makes it seem like it's much worse than it is. People sit there and look at their workout goals and they fuck it up because they wonder how long it's going to take, and nobody wants to commit to anything if it's a year. Instead of looking at it that way, look at it like you don't have to do all of this shit. You don't have to work out forever. You don't have to eat perfectly forever. You don't have to give up drinking forever. You don't have to wake up early forever. You don't have to choose to work instead of go out and party and whatever other shit degenerates consider to be fun. You don't have to do any of that shit forever. You don't have to give up your Netflix forever or your video games forever. You don't have to put shit on hold forever. All you have to do is do it today. You only have to live one single day perfectly. Today is the only day in the history of your entire life that you will need to wake up early, go to the gym, eat properly, work towards your goals, go to sleep on time, not do dumb shit, not hang around negative people. And if you can't do that for one single day, well, then you have absolutely no hope. But there is not a single person in the world who is not capable of living one perfect day. And that is all the fuck that you need to do. One perfect day. Today, you will do all of the things that you are supposed to do, all of the things that you told yourself that you were going to do, and all of the steps towards your goals you were going to take, and you are not going to make any excuses. You are not going to put anything off. You are not going to let anything distract you, only for today. Not forever, just today. And then when the next day comes, it will be today again. And you will repeat that exact same fucking day. And then you repeat the exact same day over and over fucking again. And all of your culmination of living one day perfectly will create the life that you fucking want. It doesn't need to be that complicated. It doesn't need to be this huge, daunting task. But if you can't look at yourself and say, tomorrow I can go to the gym today. And if that's not something that you could get done, then yes, you're never going to get anywhere in life. But there's not a single person in the world who can't go to the gym today. There's not a single person in the world who can't get up early today. There is not a single person in the world who can't not eat whatever food it is that pops into your head today. There's not a single person in the world who can't abstain from drinks or drugs or whatever the fuck else just today. That's the only thing that you have to do it for, today. And then the next day will come, and then you will do it for that today as well. And it is one single day at a time. It is one single action at a time. It is not any of this other shit that you paint it as. It doesn't need to be some big, complicated monster that you need to conquer. It's just a bunch of simple individual tasks. And everyone can do simple individual tasks. But if you think that simple individual tasks are too much for you to do and far too much for you to overcome, then what the fuck do you ever think that you are going to do in life? If maximizing this moment is too much for you, then what do you think your future is going to look like? What do you think tomorrow is going to look like if you're not someone who's even capable of making sacrifices for today? Because that's all the fuck you have to do.